This is Nicole Zembrodt with All Bengals, and today I am joined by Bengals legend Shayne Graham. Shayne, thanks for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. The 31-year playoff win drought has ended. You played 7 seasons with the Bengals from 2003 to 2009. Take me through what Saturday night was like for you this weekend after the Bengals beat the Raiders.
So all the excitement that was kind of going around, I think everyone just had a vibe like if it's going to happen, it's going to happen now. I've just seen all the buzz on Twitter. I got on Twitter when I got into coaching and never really had it before that. But, just seeing all the fanfare and actually being able to connect with a lot of the fans on Twitter has been really cool. But just seeing all the excitement going around this past week just kind of made the buildup really, really big. And then when they finally got that interception on the goal line, it was just like a huge, monkey lifted off of everyone's back. And it was just so exciting. And I was so happy for not only the organization, but for the fans as well.
So you've been tied to the Bengals, obviously, since you started your career there in 2003, but a special friendship there with Darren Simmons. You guys were together in Carolina in 2002 before reuniting in 2003 in Cincinnati, and you've kept in touch through the years. Have you been able to talk to Simmons yet?
Yeah. So, the funny thing is, and you'll probably get a lot of this during the week with your interviews with the players and coaches. As much as you want to congratulate them for what they've done, the feat is really nothing in comparison to what their ultimate goal is going to be. And, so the conversation was basically, congrats on the win, but there's so much more to do. And so it was downplayed quite a bit. And I even started out with downplaying it because I didn't want it to seem like, hey, you've done this great thing, when we all know that there's work still to be done. And, he definitely was on the same page as that. As I said, you're probably going to have a lot of interviews where guys are going to probably downplay this win because they know that in the grand scheme of things, it's really just one step on a larger ladder.
I mean, Burrow did downplay the win afterwards, many saw. So, yes, just a step in the ultimate goal. But speaking of Burrow, the expectation was that this drought was going to end when the Bengals selected him. Now, year 2, he's done it. He's done it a lot sooner than he was supposed to in this team. What have been your impressions of Joe Burrow so far?
Well, I think we all saw he was a winner in college. And I think a lot of times when you see a high round draft pick, typically those guys come from winning programs. But I think when you go through the evaluation of looking at your talent for who you're going to draft, it's not always about who throws the best spiral, who places the ball in the best place, who makes the best decisions on the field. It's a lot of it has to do with leadership and character. And I think a lot of people saw just the aura that he puts out of confidence, but yet just a silent assassin that doesn't have to be hugely boastful and showy and all that. But yet when it comes down to it, they're able to perform and execute and show leadership and not just leading by example, but pulling every other guys with him. And when you have all these guys that buy into that, I think it speaks a lot for the culture that coach has been able to bring into that locker room. I mean, just seeing how they play and how they get excited together, celebrate together. No one's looking for all the attention. It's guys that all want to win, and you can see the emotion when they win, and you can see the emotion when they do well for each other. That I think is what makes this team special.
So we're going to go to one of your position. So Evan McPherson, he went 4 for 4 Saturday, and that was the most made field goals by a kicker in Bengals postseason. You were at the University of Florida on their coaching staff. What has it been like for you to see McPherson at this next level after being with him at Florida?
Well, I do not have children, but I can tell you it's the feeling that I'm sure a father has when they see their son do something really special. I've been really close with Evan, and with Evan, when I met him, I could just tell he was such a good kid. And then when I saw him kick a football, it was like, all right, this kid's special. And really just being able to work with him, not necessarily tell him how to put his foot in this position and put his body in this position. It wasn't really any of that. It was more along the lines of mentality and attitude and building a routine and understanding situational football and being able to build your confidence through your work and your preparation, and knowing that when you go into the game, you're confident because you're prepared. And I felt like he was just always willing to do whatever it took. And he just exudes confidence. And even when he misses, you never see him look defeated. I mean, he always has that innocent smile on his face, even after a miss. And a lot of people don't like that. But what you don't understand is if you just show all your emotion and wear your heart on your sleeve when you're a kicker, the team feeds off of that. And when the team sees that negative energy, then they start to lose their confidence in you, not to mention you start to beat yourself up and lose confidence in yourself. So I've always felt like Evan was someone that I think he's always understood that because he's worked hard, he's gotten very talented, and he continues to work hard. And, the one thing that I'll always tell him is never truly believe that you're there or you're as good as you can be. Like, you always have to feel like you're getting better and you have something to prove. And I just think that with his mentality of unwavering confidence, and then obviously his extreme physical ability to kick a football, I have to live vicariously through him because I could never do the things that he does. And even when I thought I was at my best, I don't know that I was anywhere near as good as he was in his first year. I mean, I kicked just a couple times on the field with him, like when he was training for the combine, or they didn't have a combine last year, but he was training pre-draft. And I was just, I'm 44 years old and I haven't really kicked in the same way, but it was like, man, I just did not kick like that, even at my best. And to see him be able to just constantly pump balls through the uprights that are good rotation, solid, hold true in the wind, play in the perfect draw when the wind's blowing one way or the other. It's very impressive. And I think he's going to have a very long career. Evan is going to probably take my name off of every record that's there. I mean, yes. And I don't have any special records. I mean, the records I had probably were more along the lines of we were in position to kick a lot of field goals because our offense was so good. And, we were just always happened to be in position for field goals. But Evan, I mean, he's 9 of 10 from 50 yards. I mean, I called or I talked to Darren, and I was like, I think I had 7 field goals of 50 yards the whole 7 years I was in Cincinnati. And, he's eclipsed that. He's, 4 or 5 game winners, whatever he ended the year with. I think it took me it was the second game of the year, maybe first or second game of the year in 2004 to kick a game winner on a Sunday night game against Miami. It took me a whole season for that. And then I don't think I had another one for maybe another year or two. And then, there were a couple game winners I had that helped us get in the playoffs and all that. And obviously there were a couple that I missed that weighed very heavily on me and to many fans. But, for Evan to have not only the opportunity for all of those, but to come through on all those opportunities, just as a dream come true for anyone, but I couldn't be happier that it was for him.
You've definitely played for an explosive offense with Carson Palmer, Chad Johnson, TJ Houshmandzadeh, Rudy Johnson. How does this year's offense compare to that 2005 group of guys that you played with?
I haven't been able to watch a lot of this year's games outside of, having red zone on in the office because Sundays were always game plan days for us as a coach. So I never really saw a ton to be able to truly speak on that. But knowing the weapons that we had, I mean, I felt like our running game was solid. We had strong offensive line with potential future Hall of Famer Willie Anderson, guys like Rich Bram and just so many guys up front that made it easier for us to have a strong running game, protect the quarterback, put the ball in places where it needs to be for Chad to make plays, for TJ to make plays, for Reggie Kelly to make plays. Just so many guys that were weapons for us that, even players that their names weren't marquee players came through in situations for us, young and old guys. And having those type of weapons, when I watched this playoff game the other night, you see that like that deja vu of, oh man, that's like him, or that's reminds me of this guy and this guy. And obviously having all those weapons makes that offense extremely potent. And when you need a big play or when you need a score at the end of the game, it's nice to know you have an offense that you have confidence that they're going to be able to get a ball down the field and score.
And then put you in position for you to finish off whether field goal.
And then give the kicker a chance to finish it if it's needed.
And then going back to Evan McPherson real quick, just you alluded to his 50-plus yard field goals. That's why the Bengals took him in the 5th round. They got a lot of heat, but you look, he had 27 points for 50 and beyond. So definitely a special guy. And you said you think he's going to break your records.
Oh, absolutely. And, because I saw Evan every single day in practice, I knew what he had. I was sending film of Evan to Darren all through the season that I was there. Mm-hmm. And, he's hitting 68 yarders in practice that aren't like him with the little holding sticks. It's him in live team field goal, hitting 50, 60, 68-yard field goals on separate occasions, not just one time, because there was a wind. In fact, there really wasn't much wind at all. And so Darren kind of knew what we had with Evan. When Evan made the decision to come out early, I'll admit I was a little apprehensive about saying, maybe it's not the best move because they really look for maturity in kickers and all this kind of stuff. But obviously it's worked out well for him. And then when guys came in and saw his pro day, I mean, I was out there with all these other NFL scouts and coordinators, and I'm talking to Darren the whole time. And Evan's just banging every single kick through with extreme height, power, kickoffs, just towering hang times, back of the end zone. And everyone there is like, what round do you think he's going in? What round do you think he's going in? And I heard guys speculating, 6th, 5th, 4th. All I know was on game day, there were a few phone calls coming to my phone asking if I had heard of any other teams looking to draft. And I had several calls from teams that I knew for a fact were going to take him late 5th round and early 6th round. So I think it was good that the Bengals knew to take him in the 5th round at the time that they did.
He'll be special for years to come. So the Bengals have the Titans this weekend, next round of the playoffs. They are fresh off of their 1st round bye, and then Derrick Henry is expected to be all systems go for the game. How far do you think this Bengals team can make a run in the postseason?
One thing you learn when you play football at any level is any team can win at any time. And I think if you have the right momentum going your way, that there's no reason they can't go all the way. I don't know that there's any weaknesses that just are so insurmountable that, that someone can exploit them. I don't know that. But I've seen what everyone can say the best team in the NFL lose after going undefeated for an entire season. You just never know what can happen throughout that game. And that's why we play the games and we don't play it on paper or computers. But there's no reason they can't make it all the way. I think they have the talent to do it. I think they have the overall ability and confidence and just the mojo going in the right direction. And I think as long as, guys don't get too high over one game and realize that we need to stay the underdogs and we need to always be hungry and always be scratching and fighting and clawing for every inch you can get. I think that attitude and the beginner's mentality will keep them going, because as soon as you feel like you're not a beginner anymore, then all of a sudden somebody else is fighting a little harder than you are. So I think if they keep that going, there's a very good chance.
You signed a one-day contract with the Bengals in 2017 to retire. What did it mean to you? What was that moment like to kind of do a full circle on your career and retire as a Bengal and have the team and the Brown family help make that happen for you?
So when I mentioned, so technically I had already kind of announced that I was retiring, but then I had a couple conversations. I don't remember exactly who the people were that I spoke to, but I ended up talking to Duke. And when I talked to Duke, he's like, "Hey, here's what we can do for you." And it just, when he said that, it was like, you know what, this is perfect. This is exactly what I want to do. Because even though I started my career in other places, and even though I ended in other places, and there were significant things happen with those teams that I played for, none of them were home. None of them were what I had in Cincinnati. And just the way I was embraced by the community and the fans. When I was in Cincinnati, I had so many connections in the charity world there that just fell in love with so many people and so many organizations and so many causes that I always felt attached to them. And I always kept in contact with so many of these people that meant so much to me, that retiring as a Bengal, as you can see on this frame behind me here, that's a jersey from every team I played for. Trust me, that thing is heavy because there's so many jerseys in there and it's such a big frame. But the one front and center is my Bengals jersey, because that's the one that means the most. And I've just always felt a special connection, and, being able to continue to have a relationship with Darren. Darren's been a mentor of mine throughout my coaching career, and I consider him and his family to be close friends. It meant the world to me to be able to do that. And I really appreciate, Duke Tobin and Marvin and Darren for helping me be able to finish that way and have myself considered a Bengal when I retired.
Shayne, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you very much. Hoo day.
Hoo day.